Good evening, everyone. So today is the first day of the Lamrim teaching for beginner. I don't think all of you are really beginner. Anyway, so thank you so much for attending the Lamrim class. So today is the first day of Lamrim class for beginner. I need to clarify a few things. Also, I have a few conditions. The first, so we are in Tibetan Buddhist Center. So Tibetan Buddhist Center is not, center which is belong to someone. This center is open for everybody. Since you attend the Lamrim class, it doesn't mean you always need to come to TBC. No, you can go any centers, feel free. Second, we don't charge any class fee because since we charge, that means we are doing kind of business about Dharma, so we don't charge any money. If you could support, if you could donate a little money, we appreciate about them. Third, the Tibetan Buddhist Center is not, particular tradition. It's not belongs, not like a Gelugpa tradition, Nyingma, Sakya, Kagyu, whatever. It's very non-sectarian center. That's why when we teach Dharma, we teach just Buddha teaching, not particularly, Tsongkhapa tradition, Nyingma, Sakya, whatever. It's very non-sectarian center. So all of you, should not be too much sectarian. The number one, try to be good person. Number two, try to be good Buddhist. Is enough for you. You don't try to be like a Tibetan. Should not be try to be like Gelugpa, Sakya, Nyingma, Kagyu. If you wish, you can, follow particular tradition. Generally, you just be Buddhist is very important. And I'm here to explain Lamrim. It doesn't mean I can be your guru, your master. No, I can be your Saturday partner. I'm more happy to be Saturday partner, rather than your master and guru. I'm not going to be your guru and master because I don't have all the teachers or master or guru qualities. I have a qualities to be Saturday partner. If you want to be, if you wish to be me as your study partner, and I wish to be your study partner. So we are very equal. Okay? So due to that reason, sometimes you really don't know what I am talking about. Feel free, you raise a question. If you have a confusion, also feel free, ask me a question, because I'm not going to be your guru or your master or your teacher. I'm going to be your Saturday partner. This is I'm really feel. Then, since next class we have to be studied very seriously. Usually, the book is quite thick, so don't worry. I'm not going to go, the words by words. I will explain the essence of, few pages. That we will finish very quickly. Also, you will get the main point of the Lamrim. Each class, I will ask, this is my conditions for you. Each class, I ask you to do homework. So, when you do homework, you don't need to remember all the words. You try to remember the essence, try to remember the meaning. And another important beginning or the class or ending of the class, I will explain a little bit about the Nalendra, the study course. The first I will explain the psychology. After that I will explain the tenets. That means you can have a two kind of knowledge. One Lamrim, second psychology, as well as tenets. Why the psychology, Buddhist psychology is very important to know. The Buddhism, the practice of Buddhism is merely only about transforming your mind, transforming the positive mind or decrease the negative minds. If you don't know much about the Buddhist psychology, then you don't know how to increase the positive mind, how to decrease the negative minds. Buddhism is merely on, transforming, changing, develop your positive minds. That's why we need to know the psychology. When you know, when you have a basic knowledge or idea about psychology, for you very easy to control your minds. Then each class we have a short time question and answer. That's my condition number 1, homework. Second, I will explain the Nalendra study course. Third, we have a short time for question answer. This I want to say beginning of the Lamrim class. So why we need to study Lamrim? Why we need to know Lamrim? So Lamrim is not, like a Gelugpa tradition. All traditions, all Buddhist tradition has a Lamrim. All Buddha teachings are Lamrim. So why we need to study Lamrim, this Lamrim text? This Lamrim text is very, simple text, content all the meaning of Buddha teaching, include Vajrayana. So generally, we believe ourselves, I am Buddhist. If we really think precisely, am I Buddhist? How much I really know about Buddhism? How much I practice Buddhism? Then we notice, we're going to realize ourselves. I know very little about Buddhism, although I practice very little about Buddhism. Why, we have a very little knowledge about Buddhism? So far, we don't have, the time to, study Dharma. Second, we have a time, but we don't have, the master or a teacher who can explain, the right meaning of Dharma. Third, why we practice the Dharma very little? Because we don't have the trust. We don't know the actual, the useful of Dharma. Once you know, the Dharma is very important. It's very important for this life, important for my next life. Then if you will learn Dharma, you will practice seriously the Dharma. The most time when we study, when we practice Dharma, we study, practice, attend the Dharma as a culture, as a tradition. So the Dharma, the Lamrim, the Buddha teaching, we should not take as a culture, as a tradition. We must take it is very important, very necessary. If you accept Dharma as a culture, then you're not going to know the Dharma, you're not going to practice the Dharma seriously. You must know the Dharma is very important, not just as a culture. Then you will learn, you will practice. And also, after I study, Dharma, after I study Lamrim, what I can get, what things I can get, what important things I can have. Then I'm going to say, I'm not going to say if you study Dharma, if you practice Lamrim, I'm not going to say you're going to accumulate a lot of merits. I'm not going to say, you will reborn in Pure Land, you will born in a Buddha land. I'm not going to say. I'm going to say to you, if you study Lamrim, if you study the Dharma, it's very, the Dharma look like your best friend. And this life and next life. How the Dharma will become your best friend for this life. When we have a problem, we always rely on, best friend or best, relatives. When we rely on best friend or best parents or relative, you will get support to reduce, minimize or eliminate the problem and suffering. So Dharma can be your best friend when you face emotional problem, mental problem. Dharma is the only one who can, reduce your mental suffering and mental problems. Also, we live in Singapore, so in Singapore we have more than 5 million people who live in Singapore. The most time we feel we have a loneliness feeling. Right, loneliness feeling. Even though we live within the 5 million people, someday we feel I'm alone. I'm alone. You feel I'm very, lonely. You have a loneliness feeling. If you learn Dharma, if you practice Dharma, if you apply the Dharma, you never ever have the loneliness feeling. Because you feel, all sentient beings is around you. You feel all sentient beings are your best friend. And also, if you study Lamrim, if you study Dharma very seriously, practice seriously, you never ever have the depression problem. You know how to deal, the mental problem, how to deal, any kinds of problems. Nowadays, we can see, many Buddhists, they consider themselves I'm Buddhist, but they have sort of, and they have a kind of loneliness feeling, they have a depression feeling, they have, very uneasy mind, because they don't know exactly what does mean Dharma, they don't know how to practice, how to apply the Dharma. If you study Dharma, if you practice Dharma, Dharma can be your best friend, can be your best medicine to cure all the mental or emotional problems. At the same time, if you study Dharma seriously, practice seriously, you no need to worry about, I'm not accumulating merit. You will accumulate merit simultaneously. Practice Dharma, accumulate merit. Practice Dharma, overcome the mental sufferings. So everybody, try to seriously study Lamrim and practice Lamrim. This Lamrim is not, just written by Lama Tsongkhapa. He collect all the essence of the Buddha teaching. He just collect all the essence of Buddha teaching, put together in the simple words. That means, as what Lama Tsongkhapa said, the person who written this book, also he is the written of the the lamb of the path to enlightenment. That means Adisha wrote very simple books, very I think few pages. When he explained actually the meaning of Lamrim, then the Lamrim become very thick. That means the Lamrim collect all the essence of Buddha teaching, put together, easy to practice, easy to understand. So without Lamrim, if you study, Heart Sutara, or you study the, Diamond Cut Sutara, or, you study the Pranjana Paramita, you don't understand how to practice. You don't understand what it is talking about. So we are very fortunate to have this Lamrim text, also have the Lamrim written by Atisha. So that means you should not think Lamrim is, particularly from Tibetan tradition. You should not think it's a Gelugpa traditions. And also generally, it's become kind of habits for us. Usually what we say, Tibetan Buddhism, Chinese Buddhism, Thai Buddhism, Sri Lanka Buddhism, Burmese Buddhism, Japanese, Korean, we use this word. Have you ever heard Singaporean Islam, Chinese Islam, Pakistan Islam, Islamic, Indian Islamic? No. Just use the Islam, right? Islam. Why are we using Tibetan Buddhism, Chinese Buddhism, Thai Buddhism? We ourselves making different groups. Actually, when you study Dharma, you can see all Dharma in Chinese language, Tibetan language, Thai, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, whatever. The meaning is exactly same, but the language is different. Right? For example, the Islam. In India, they use the Urdu. In China, of course, they use the Chinese language to explain the Islam. Also Hindu, same. Christian, same. Right? You never heard, Chinese Christianity, or, Singaporean Christianity, Thai Christianity, European Christianity, or American Christianity. No. They use the Christianity, everywhere. Also, we use, Buddhism. Buddhism in Chinese language, Buddhism in Tibetan language, Buddhism in Japan, Korean, Vietnam, Thai. If we use this language, then very easy to unite it. All Buddhist people, all Buddhist country. So have to, because in the ancient time, we thought, Tibetan Buddhism is totally separate than the Chinese Buddhism, or Chinese Buddhism is totally separate than the Tibetan Buddhism. Actually, when you study all Mahayana, Buddhist country, they talk about great compassion, bodhicitta, emptiness, nirvana, right? The practice are same. Why we use, the Chinese tradition, Tibetan tradition, Thai tradition. Also, we can use in this very important one, the Buddhism in different languages. It is, right? So, generally, we should not have a lot of, funny thoughts. You should think, all the meaning of Buddhism is same in Chinese language, Tibetan language, or Japan, Korean, Vietnamese, wherever. The language are different. The meaning, the practice are same. Okay, so this is I want to say beginning of the Lamrim class. So when you study Lamrim, first Lama Tsongkhapa explained the main point. After he explained the main point, then he quoted many quotation from the sutra, or the commentary of sutra or Vajrayana. So you don't need to remember all the quotation. You must know the first point. Then why Lama Tsongkhapa did lot of quotation? He was make sure the idea which he explained in Lamrim, make sure this idea is taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. Make sure the idea, the practice is explained or, introduced by Indian master. Make sure it is introduced by Atisha. That means he was very, systematic. And also when we say Sutrayana, I think there's a bit confusion in Singapore, Singaporean society, Buddhist society, or Chinese Buddhist society. Generally, all Buddha teachings we can divide into two categories. Vajrayana teaching, Sutrayan teaching. Clear? That means the Vajrayana teaching or Sutrayan teaching both must be taught by Buddha. This means Vajrayana, Sutrayan. Then we can say, this is Sutra. This Lamrim is not included into between Vajrayana and Sutrayana. No, the Sutrayana must be taught by Buddha. This Lamrim is commentary on the Sutrayana or Tantrayana. You should not say this is Sutra. This is a commentary on the Sutra. According to Indian master tradition, is a Vajrayana teaching or Sutrayana teaching. They both must be taught by Buddha. The rest of the teaching, written by Indian master, Chinese master, Tibetan master, any masters, those are commentary on the Buddha teaching. This is very important to let you know. And also, for example, the last time I attend the Buddhist fellowship program, when he's on the stage, when you look at when you see the speaker on the stage, there's a representative of the Hinayana, representative of Mahayana, representative of Vajrayana. This concept is very wrong, actually wrong. Generally, we have in the Buddhist teaching, we have only two different, tradition. We can say, Sutrayan tradition, Vajrayana, Mahayana tradition. Sutrayana and Hinayana and Mahayana. Only two tradition, Hinayana and Mahayana. Or now you can use, Pali tradition, Buddhism, or Sanskrit tradition of Buddhism. Hinayana and Mahayana. Within the Mahayana, we have two tradition. Mahayana, Sutra Mahayana, Vajra Mahayana. That means Vajrayana include into Mahayana teaching, Mahayana, practice. That means we have only two types of tradition, Hinayana, Mahayana. Within the Mahayana, Sutra Mahayana and Vajra Mahayana. We don't have three tradition. We have only two. Okay. Now everybody open Lamrim. So we follow the Tsongkhapa Lamrim because it is very academic. It is very systematic. Then addition, you can read the Lamrim written by Pavonka Rinpoche, or you can read Lamrim written by Zabadu Rinpoche in the Kagyu, or if you have other Lamrim written by Nyingma Master, you can read as a additional. Mainly, we follow the Lamrim. Okay, this means page number 32, right? Page number 33, 34, mainly, the approach, that means salutation. So, this Lamrim at the beginning, look at homage to Guru Manju Gokha or Gosha. Homage to the Guru Manju Gokha or Gosha. Very important word. Okay, historically, so Lama Tsongkhapa was, studied many, lineage with the many masters. He was a very scholar, very high practitioner. Even though somehow he has a lot of difficulties to understand emptiness. emptiness. He don't understand the exact meaning of emptiness. Even though he met many masters, many teachers, he studied for a long time, even though he had a difficulty to understand the meaning of emptiness. Even though when he was young, very young age, he can see Manjushri due to his previous, practice or previous karmic link. He can see Manjushri. He can, he can see, but he cannot communicate directly to Manjushri. He need to communicate to Manjushri through some other master. Even though he had a problem to understand emptiness, then finally he asked the question to Manjushri through someone, how I can understand emptiness? The Tata replies, by Manjushri, he said, you always practice two things combinedly, the unanimally. Accumulate merit, purifying negative karma. Okay, accumulate merit, purify negative karma. You say you must combine together two practices. Therefore, he went for long retreat with the eight very important disciples. That time, he did two practices together. He did the mandal offering. He didn't have the the mandala made of gold, made of silver, made of some this. He just offered the mandala on the just empty rock. At the same time, he did the I think more than 100,000 prostration. That means, in order to understand emptiness, in order to practice Lamrim, in order to practice Buddha Dharma, we always do two practices. Practices of purifying negative karma, practices of accumulating merit. Because if you do only accumulate merit, if you always accumulate merit, it doesn't mean you purify negative karma. No. You accumulate a lot of merit, negative karma is still there. If you only do the purification, purifying negative karma, it doesn't mean you are accumulating merit. You need two practices. So that's why most of you, I think every day you burn stick, you burn incense, you lit a light, right? Those are you can use the practice of accumulate merit. Burn incense, lit the light, offering flower, give a little donation to the monastery or nunneries or the who need like a beggar who need things. All of these you just do in order to accumulate merit. Then recitation of Manibeme, recitation, chanting, doing prostration, all of them you can do in order to purifying negative karma. That means if you do 1 year continuously, then you can feel it within 1 year. Yeah, my wisdom is I've become more wise. You can feel it's more easy to understand Dharma, more easy to practice Dharma. If you're doing only study Lamrim, practice Lamrim, if you don't purify negative karma, if you don't accumulate merit, you cannot see, much progress in your practice. That's why you must do two practice together, purifying, accumulating merit. That's why, do the, two practices together. Finally, he really, communicate directly with the Manjushri. Then he received a lot of teaching from Manjushri. So Tsongkhapa consider, Manjushri is one of his root guru, his guru. That's why you can see, homage to guru. He didn't say homage to Manju Gosha, guru. Particularly, many teaching from Vajrayana, about Vajrayana, he received a lot of, oral transmission. he received a lot of, explanation from Manjushri. That's why Manjushri is the guru of Lama Tsongkhapa. And also, many people ask me question, how I can have a better memory, how I can have a, better understanding Lamrim. Then at most I told them, you buy the, very expensive chip, memory chip, put in install in your brain, then you can remember everything. So far we cannot, right? I hope in the future people believe if you put chip in your brain, you can remember everything. Maybe not. The best one, every morning, when you woke up, after you take a shower or before you breakfast, you recite the mantra of Manjushri maybe 100 times. 100 times. Om Ara Pasa Nadi. Simple, you just say homage to Manjushri. Yeah, I homage, to the Manjushri. Just say it like this. Usually we say, I homage to Guru Manjushri. No, Guru and Manjushri. We Tibetans say, I homage to Guru and Manjushri. Then we recite the, Om Ara Pasa Nadi early morning, maybe 100, 200, 1,000 times. Om Ara Pasa Nadi, Om Ara Pasa Nadi, Om Ara Pasa Nadi, Om Ara Pasa Nadi, Om Ara Pasa Nadi. That time you do one simple visualization. Simple visualization. Can you see the source of Manjushri? Source. You just visualize, the golden source on your tongue. The tip, right? Tip, in the downsward on your tongue. The tip just between here, because Treva, you just visualize the source of, which is golden source, just, from here. The handle must be, close to the root of the tongue. Handle, Then the source go all the way here. Just simply visualize the source. Then also you need to visualize Manjushri. Then you recite the mantra, Om Ara Pasa Nadi, Om Ara Pasa Nadi, Om Ara Pasa Nadi, Om Ara Pasa Nadi, Om Ara Pasa Nadi 100 times. After 100, then you just recite Om Ara Pasa Nadi. That time you just think, lot of D, the letter D, or simple you just think lot of blessing, energy, power, come from the source, go into your heart. The last, 100 you need to recite, without bragging. The last one, for example, Om Ara Pasa Nadi, you can recite 5. They're very easy to count 100 times. And end of the your breath, you just solo. You just think I'm swallowing the wisdom go into your heart. Then you just imagine my wisdom, increase. Every morning you recite this mantra. Then really within 1 year you can have a better memory. You can have a better, understanding of Dharma. You can have a very clear and vivid mind. That's why Manju Gokha. Then second, mainly, salutation to Buddha Shakyamuni. Right? I bow my head to the chief of the Shakya, whose body was, very important, whose body was formed by 10 million perfect virtues, whose speech fulfilled the hope of limitless beings, whose mind sees precisely all object of knowledge. He's talking about the quality of Buddha body, quality of Buddha speech and mind. You should not think, the Buddha body is just, made of bones and flesh and blood. The Buddha body was, formed, actually you should say Buddha body is. Because is, we should not use the was. The Buddha body is That's why Buddha Shakyamuni was in India, 2000 years ago. He's still alive. We use the Buddha body is. That means all Buddhas, body are formed by 10 million perfect virtues. That means after you accumulate a lot of virtues, when you become a Buddha, all virtues transform as your body. That means the body is actually, transform, the perfect virtues. Then body. Second is mind, right? Speech. The speech fulfill the hope of limitless beings. Also, it's talking about the quality of Buddha's speech. It needs in the Buddha's speech, so beautiful, so nice. It's a fulfill hope of, limitless beings. Is the quality of Buddha's speech. So you should not think, when you listen to Buddha teaching, you're going to fulfill. No. At the Buddha lifetime, there were so many people who always talk with the Buddha, who always, chit-chat with the Buddha. But most of them, they, didn't fulfill their hope. How we can fulfill our hope? Rely on Buddha teaching. How? That means what Buddha said. Subdue your mind. Avoid all the negative action. Always accumulate merit. This means it's simple. What Buddha said. If you follow what Buddha said, then you will fulfill your hope. What is your hope? What is your hope? Achieve enlightenment. It is not your hope to be a rich person, right? Your hope is not to be very healthy. Yeah, you can be healthy, if you practice Dharma, you can be very healthy physically, mentally. The hope is to, becoming Buddha. A hope to be, perfect, happy person. Right? Since we born, we always wish to be happy. Right? Everybody think, I must have a happy life. I must have a happy family. I must have a, happy friends. The happy, becoming happy is the, our hope. Then happy has, many different levels. The ultimate happiness, the lasting happiness is our hope. The hope you can fulfill if you perfectly follow Buddha teaching. What the Buddha teaches is not, not going to fulfill all the only Buddhist. Or if the non-Buddhists, if they follow Buddha teaching, they can fulfill their hope. Nowadays, many countries like in Europe, in America, for example, North America, many schools and college, they put the Buddha teaching as a curriculum. They notice if they practice, if they follow the Buddha teaching, they will all the students will become better person, happy person. So if you really follow the Buddha teaching, if you really feel I'm Buddhist, if you're real Buddhist, you should not have a kind of the stress, depression, loneliness. You should not be a very angry person. If you're really angry person, that means you're not following Buddha teaching. You're not practicing Buddha's Dharma. That means you are not real Buddhist. Fulfill. The third, whose mind sees, precisely all object of knowledge. There's first Buddha, body quality is very important. Most important is speech, not the body. Third is the mind. Mind, speech is very important. Compared with mind and speech, mind is very important. That's why, quality of body, speech, mind. The quality of the mind is very important. The next one, I bow down to the Ajita, Mitriya, and to Majugokha, the supreme hearers of the, uncalled teacher of Buddhas, having assumed the burden of all conquerors' deeds. They maintain the immeasurable Buddha's realms. is mainly talking about Maitreya Buddha and Manjugoka or Manjushri. Here, I think most of you know, the story, about Maitreya and Manjushri. Because Buddha lifetime, there were so many bodhisattvas, so many ordinary beings. Also, there were so many other Buddhas, who, come to attend the teaching of the Buddha. That before Buddha gave the Prajna Paramita teaching, so they were doing preparation. And that time, so other planets, other worlds has a kind of lot of lighting in the sky. They have a kind of like a small earthquake. Then the people ask to the Buddha who live in the other planets, why this happened? Why do we have a lot of lightning in the sky? Why we have a small earthquake? Why we have very auspicious sign? Then the Buddha told to the disciples, okay, next year certain month there was a Buddha. His name was Buddha Shakyamuni. He will give the Prajna Paramita teaching. This is the indication. This is the sign of giving the very important teachings. Then they also asked to the Buddha, can we attend the teaching? The Buddha said, the disciples who are reached to the quite high level of practice, they can go to the Jambu Devi. We call Jambu Devi this planet. You can go. The ordinary who are not reached to the high level practice, you should not attend. Right? In Singapore, who have never been to India, you know what? Somebody asks to go to India, you say, no, I'm not going to India. It's a very scary country, right? Scary, lot of very dirty. I don't want to go. Who are quite physically strong, mentally strong, they can go. That's what Buddha asks, who are very advanced in practice, reach into high state, they can go attend the teaching. And that time also, the Manjushri, Maitreya Buddha, also attend the teaching of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Then he taught, so many teaching, also very, profound, difficult teaching. Then ordinary people cannot understand. Ordinary people cannot, remember all the, teaching. Then Manjushri and Maitreya Buddha can memorize, can understand all the meanings. That's why, Manjushri, Maitreya is very important. Another important, so in the Lamrim, until Atisha, there were two different lineage. I'm talking about different lineage. I'm not talking two different teaching. Come from different like a master. One lineage of the Lamrim, one lineage of the Buddha. The practice of Buddha Dharma come from Manjushri, all the way to Nagarjuna. Another lineage of the practice of the Dharma, practice of Buddha teaching, come from Maitreya Buddha, all the way to Asanga. Two lineages. That means it's so important to salute it to Manjushri and Maitreya Buddha. Then Adisha, Master Adisha compound the two lineage which has come from Manjushri to Nagarjuna, Maitreya Buddha to Asanga. Then he compound two lineage. That means the Lamrim which we could study, this is the combination of the two lineages come from Maitreya Buddha and Manjushri. Maitreya and Manjushri. Okay, you must remember the story, why Manjushri is important, why Maitreya Buddha is so important. Also, we believe, Maitreya Buddha is the, future Buddha, so he will come on the planet and give a teaching. The third one, Nagarjuna and Asanga, right? Now you can see Nagarjuna, receive teaching through the Manjushri, not directly. Manjushri keep teaching so many other masters. Finally, Nagarjuna received the teaching. Asanga received the teaching from Maitreya Buddha directly. Asanga. And Nagarjuna, composed 5 or 6, treatises. And Maitreya Buddhas also composed, 5 treatises, 5 texts. Nagarjuna, 5 or 6. And Asanga, composed many texts. Here I surely explain the story of, Asanga. Most of you, I think, already heard the story. So before, there was no Lamrim. Not the text which is called Lamrim. There's no text which is, put all, meanings together in simple way. That's why one day Asanga, read the Prajna Paramita teaching. He read from beginning to end, very precisely. He didn't understand, he confused the meaning. He didn't understand the meaning of the Prajna Paramita. He has a lot of confusion. Then what did he think? He thought the best way, I want to see Maitreya Buddha, right? So that time they didn't have the space shelter, space shelter, right? Space shelter. No space. They can go moon, right? Yeah. If that time there was the space shelter, maybe Asanga can use and go to see Maitreya Buddha. That's what he did. I really want to see Maitreya Buddha, then I can receive instruction about Prajna Paramita teaching, because he was, that he was the, with the Buddha, when Buddha gave the teaching, he was there. He thought the best way I want to see Maitreya Buddha, then he can explain, he can solve my problem. How we can see? He cannot go by aeroplane. He cannot invite through, Maitreya Buddha through imitation letter. Cannot. He do, a lot of meditation in order to see Maitreya Buddha. He tried 3 years in retreat. After 3 years, he didn't have any sign, any indication to see Maitreya Buddha. Then he just, give up his retreat. He come out. Then he saw there was a very old man. Who hold a very thick iron, right? Iron, iron, like iron, very thick one. Then he asked to the old man, "What are you doing?" "I am making needle, rubbing this thick iron. I am making a needle." He thought, "Wow, look at his effort. He's going to make this thick iron as a needle. How long it will take time? My effort was nothing." He returned again the retreat. He tried 6 years. After 6 years, he didn't see Maitreya Buddha. He come out, give up. Then he saw, there's one vulture. Morning he fly somewhere, evening he come back. Each time he passed the mountain, he touched his feather on the rock. Just one time, 1 day, 2 times. When he see the rock, he found the rock is so smooth. Even just touching the weather 2 times a day, he thought, I must put more effort. Then he tried, another 3 years, totally 12 years. So he, could not see Maitreya Buddha. Finally, he totally gave up. He thought, I cannot see him, just totally give up. He come out from the retreat, and he just walk around the, street in the village. Then he saw there was a dog, totally, whole body is a very bad condition. Whole body is full of the worm, right? Maggot. They got, so compassion towards the dog. But what he could do? He just, take out the maggot going to die. If left as this, the dog going to die. Then what he did? He just cut his flesh from here, cut the flesh. Put the flesh. He didn't use the knife or spoon to take out the maggot, but he tried to take out from his lip, because he was so compassionate. Who don't want to harm the dog, don't want to harm the maggots. He just tried by lip. He cannot touch the dog body. Cannot. Then he thought, what happened? He opened his eyes. He saw Midira Buddha. Why? He practiced retreat. He practiced for 12 years. Did retreat for 12 years. But most important, that time he got very pure, compassion, mental quality. Then, due to the great compassion, he purified the negative karma, which is we cannot see the Midira Buddha. Then he feel, happy to see Midira Buddha, also a bit angry with the Midira Buddha. He said, how has happened? I tried to see you for 12 years, but I cannot see you. What happened? He said, no. I'm always with you in the retreat, in the cave. But you cannot see me. I always saw you. If you don't believe, look at me. So Midira Buddha show he's close to the asanga, because when he feels tired, he's a split. Everywhere, split, right? Split in the cave, right? Split of his clothes. He said, look at, I'm with you. This is yours in a split. Yeah. Then Midira thought, still not, he could not believe. He thought, he's really just Midira Buddha is deceiving to me. He said, if you cannot believe me, okay, you just do the experiment. You do the test. He asked, you just carry me on your shoulder, walk around the village. He said, okay. Then and Asanga carry the Midira Buddha, walk around the, village. Most of people didn't say anything. Somebody saw, Asanga carry the dog dead body. Who was quite lucky person. They saw still carry something. Most of people, they didn't say anything. Then he asked Asanga, did everybody see me? He said, none of them. Somebody saw you, I carry the dog. Who are lucky enough, they saw me as a dog. Look, that means in order to, achieve something, we need to put a lot of effort. But we must put the right effort. Okay, that's why. Then, finally he really very happy. Then he requests to him, explain the Pranjana Paramita teaching. Then Midira Buddha said, okay, let's go with me. Then Midira Buddha brought him to Tushita, for only, I think, let's say half day in the Tushita time, half day. So he, Midira Buddha explained all the meaning very detailedly. And he composed the text, and all the text passed to Asanga. Then he brought back to, on the planet. Then he understand the meaning. So here very important, we must know, he spent only half day of the Tushita time. When he come back on the planet, this world, it's already been 12 years. 12 years. Here what we can learn, time. How much do you know? The scientists do simple experiment, right? There's a twins. One twin just stay on the planet. One twin use the shelter, like moon shelter. No. One twin use the rocket. It's so fast. He use the rocket. He's come back maybe within, let's say, 1 hour. Use the rocket and come back to the planet. That time, his friends, twins, already 60 years old. The twins who used the rocket, he came back, he's still very young. Because there's no independent time. In different place, different time. So this is why, the short story about. Then in Tibetan monasteries, for example, when I was studying Buddhist philosophy, Pranjaparamita, so we have to memorize, the text which is explained the Pranjana Paramita. So many monks, memorized all of, I had memorized one of the texts. Then, Nagarjuna Asanga. So Nagarjuna composed, let's say, 5 or 6. Midra Buddha, 5 treatises. Then I bow to Dibamkara Adisha, right? Bearer of the treasure of the instruction. So then the 4th, then he prays to the Adisha. Adisha, right? Adisha was very important master because he combined the two lineages. Not only that time, Adisha was the top of the scholar, top of the master, very important master. So Adisha received all the instruction teaching from whom? Whom? Adisha received all the teachings from whom? Selingba. Selendara or Selingba. Now, Indonesia, we believe, Jambi was the, the temple, founded by Selingba. So Adisha, even though he was very famous, very, practitioner, very, top scholar, he was still looking, the instruction of Bodhicitta, teaching about Bodhicitta. Even though there were so many masters in India, but he wasn't, satisfied with the master. He thought I should go to see the Lama, Guru Selingba, Selendara or Selingba. Then, he came to Indonesia by, the simple ship. It takes, I think, 12 months to reach to Indonesia. Then again, important story here. So, even though he reached to the shore, right? Shore. He reached to the shore close to Adisha. He can go anytime, not that far. But he didn't go directly. He didn't go directly to see the Selingba, Lama Selingba. He was just, waiting for their, I think, few weeks. Make sure, the Lama Selingba is really, the perfect teacher for him. So before he, went to see the Lama Selingba, he was doing kind of, study or research about him. He visited all the village. He asked the people, how is the Lama Selingba look like? Is he really good practitioner? He's a really good master? How is he look like? Because before he heard when he never seen him, right? So he did a lot of analysis about Lama Selingba. Then finally he really got really strong conviction. Then he went to see, Lama Selingba. That time Lama Selingba already knows, he come from India. He was the abbot of the, Bodh Gaya's monasteries. That time the Bodh Gayas they had a lot of monasteries. He was the abbot of the monasteries. He thought, he is not appropriate. He just come. I must go to receive him. Also, he was the son of the king, very famous king. That's why, Lama Selingba go to receive him, and they met, halfway. And if you think about the story, that time Lama Selingba, lead the group. There's maybe many monks who wear, the yellow robe, received. Then almost, I think, 12 years, Adisha spent with Lama Selingba with 12 years. He received all the instruction, all the teaching, including Vajrayana. Then he returned to India. That's why we must know the story of Lama Selingba and Adisha. Okay, then next one. He do the salutation to his general guru, his masters and gurus. Look at, I bow with respect to the teachers, who with the deeds of skill in means move by loving concern. He's talking about the mental quality of the gurus. Also, he's talking about, the knowledge about Buddha Dharma. This meaning is also very important, advice for us. If you need to rely on the teachers, the teacher must be very, very skillful in how to explain the teaching. Right? The teaching, that master or the guru must have a perfect knowledge about Buddha Dharma. Second one, he look at moved by loving concern. Right? This means the gurus, the master is very knowledgeable. He knows, all the Sudarayana, Vajrayana, Tantrayana. He knows everything. If the guru or master not really compassionate, not loving guru, the guru won't be benefit for you. You cannot get a lot of benefit. That means in the future, I think most of you already have a guru. In the future, if you need a new teacher or new guru, I'm not saying the Saturday partner. I'm okay with Saturday partner. If you really need to rely on guru or master, if you really want to accept someone as your guru, first you check the guru has a perfect Buddha Dharma knowledge or not. Perfect. Perfect means, complete picture of Buddhism. Complete picture. For example, many Tibetan masters have a good picture of Tibetan Buddhism. They don't have a good picture of like the Hinayana tradition. Or some masters has a good knowledge about Tibetan Buddhism, Hinayana, not Vajrayana. The master must have the knowledge about Hinayana, then Sudarayana, Mahayana Sudarayana, Mahayana Vajrayana. That means the guru must have a perfect knowledge, has a perfect knowledge. Then another quality, the knowledge is just knowledge in the brain, right? In the brain. For example, everybody know the meaning of compassion, right? I think everybody know what does mean compassion. That means in intellectual level you know, but the compassion never bring into your heart. You never be compassionate person, right? That means the master must have a complete knowledge. The master must be apply all the knowledge day-to-day life. That means the guru or master must be very practitioner. Practice compassion, practice renunciation, bodhicitta. The most important, guru must be very compassionate, very loving. Make sure the guru has non-bias attitudes, right? You can see, I think most of you have experience, when you go teaching, any center or any other teaching, many, I don't know much about, the Chinese master or Thai master. I know many Tibetan, not many, some Tibetan master always have a biased mind. Who has a lot of money, who are rich. They always ask to come closer, always chit-chat. Who doesn't have a lot of money, they don't have a lot of intention. Am I right? That's why if the guru is very compassionate, the guru has a good heart. The guru doesn't care who has a money, who doesn't have a money. Because there is a compassion towards everybody. That's why it's so important to say, concern, compassion, loving, and moved by loving concern. Like illuminate of the fortune that gateway leading to liberation. As for weaving the all limitless scriptures. That means knowledgeable, experienced practitioner. If you found someone, doesn't matter he or she, he doesn't matter the person is a male and female. If the person has those quality, then you can accept the person is your guru, your teacher. But we have little problem as a Asian, particularly like as a Indian, as a Singaporean, as a Chinese. We have a very bad culture, bad habits. Generally, we discriminate male and female, right? I can see when we attend ceremony, I think most Singaporeans really respect to the monks, not much to the nuns. Right? Why? The monks are Sangha, the nuns are Sangha. Why you cannot respect to the nun as the monk? Culturally, we have a discrimination between male and female. Okay, you should not discriminate, between male gurus or female gurus. If they have a perfect knowledge, perfect experience, compassionate, just you can accept the person, he or she, doesn't matter, accept as your guru, follow the person. Because it's the quality, there has a quality, right? For example, let's say iPhone plus 8, right? Plus 8, 8 plus. 8 plus. Does everybody like plus 8? 8 plus? Right? 8 plus or plus 8? 8 plus iPhone, right? Everybody like or not? Let's say everybody like. Okay, why not? Well, I think some plus 8, right? 8 plus, 8 plus, 8 plus, made by female. Right? Don't you like this iPhone? Yeah, doesn't matter. The iPhone is, made by male or female. You are looking plus 8, right? 8 plus, 8 plus. You are looking 8 plus. Doesn't matter, right? Who made, male or female? Right? You are looking perfect teacher, perfect guru, who has all this quality. The person has all this quality, you don't care. The person is male or female. The person is Tibetan, Chinese, Singaporean. You don't care. Because you are looking the person who has this quality. Okay, this is his general guru. Another very important here. Nowadays, okay, those making effort as yoga have studied few of classical texts. That's what we are. Nowadays, those making effort at yoga have studied few of the classic texts. That means who are, trying to practice. Who are trying to practice Buddha Dharma. But they study very classical texts. Right? That means many Tibetan only study Tibetan texts. They don't want to study any other texts, like the text in Chinese language, text in Pali language. Right? Very, kind of say, biased mind. If they study only their own, their own language, they can see very little, not much. That's why in Tibetan, as a Tibetan, they must study, Gelugpa tradition, must study Nyingma, Kayu, Saya. If they have a time, must study the Bon tradition. Then they have a complete picture of Tibetan Buddhism. That's why in the Tibetan society, you can see someone say, "Oh, I'm Gelugpa." They always, look down Saya, Nyingma, Kayu, because they study only their own tradition. Someone say, I'm Nyingma master, or I don't like Gelugpa, Saya, Kayu, right? Because they study their own classical texts. And as a Singaporean, you study mainly about, like a Chinese text. Oh, I'm Chinese Buddhist, I don't like Tibetan Buddhist. Because you study only Buddhism in Chinese language. That's why we must study, all Buddha teaching. That's why he's look at. Nowadays, those making effort at yoga have studied few of classical texts. While those who have studied much are not skilled in the key point of practice. Someone don't study, widely, study very, particular, tradition. Someone study, all tradition, but they don't have the skill in the key point of practice. Right now we are, look like we are same. Most of our, we study classic texts. Some of you study, widely, Nyingma, Gelug, Saya, Chinese, study all teaching, but you don't have the skill, point of the practice. The third one here again, they tend to view the scripture through the eyes of pershib, right? Yeah, pershib, right? partisanship. Okay, that's meant, so they can see this tradition, they cannot see other tradition. Very biased mind. So his big advice us as a Buddhist. I said, we should not say, Chinese Buddhism, Tibetan, we say as a Buddhist. We must study, Buddhism about in Chinese language, Tibetan language, Thai language, Sri Lanka. We just study all, Buddha teaching. Then you can see, you can have a complete picture of Buddhism. Then you can see everything. You don't have, short-sighted. You should not see one part. You can see the whole. So as a Buddhist, we must study, all the Buddha teaching. Not only study, we must be very skillful how to put into practice. Also, when you think about Buddha, Buddha teaching, you just think, widely, not very narrow mind, right? This is kind of advice based on Lama Tsongkhapa. Because that time, in Tibet, many master or many monks study very classical texts. Or many, monks or nuns study, many texts, but they are not skillful in put to practice. Then they have a biased mind. Unable to use reason to discriminate the meaning of the scripture. So we are same, we are not able to use reason to discriminate the meaning of the scripture. So why we need to use, reasoning to discriminate, to, differentiate. It's so important. If you really want to practice Buddha Dharma, so before you practice Dharma, you study. You study based on logics and reasoning. Okay? Logics and reasoning. Whatever Buddha taught, whatever explained in Suddhara or Tantrayana, all of them depend on basis of reasoning and logic. Something is illogical, right? Illogical, not logic. Illogical. Something is not, there's no any reason behind. You don't have to follow. Because different, we follow, we live different countries. Also in the different countries are different, using different language. Then there are so many different ideas how to practice Dharma, how to recite, mantra, how to do chanting, how to make offering. There are so many funny thoughts. If somebody say, okay, you must do this way, you should ask question, why I have to do this way? Why not I should do another way? Why? Right? Even though Buddha himself said, right, you should not accept my teaching because I'm Buddha. You must accept my teaching based on, knowing the reasoning and logic. So we follow the Buddha, right? We follow Buddha. We feel, we are a follower of Buddha. If we follow Buddha, you must follow the Buddha teaching. There are another, I think, important person and teaching and meaning. Okay? Number 1, person. Number 2, teaching. Number 3, meaning. Generally, we don't care the teaching, meaning. We don't care the teaching, we care the person. Right? For example, when you go to Dharamsala, you don't know anything about Karmapa. Somebody says, oh, we must see Karmapa. He's very holy, very important. Everybody just rush to see him. Person important. Somebody says, oh, today Dalai Lama is coming to Singapore. He's very important. He's a Buddha. He's holy. Everybody rush to see him. You never ask his teaching. You never ask why he's so important. First, our person is very important. It's totally wrong. Then somebody say, oh, the person is not that attractive, not famous. The way of explaining, the way of giving teaching is so nice. I want to go. Right? You don't think the meaning. Did you? Right? If you attend like a concert, you don't care the meaning. So far the music is nice, beautiful, you just go and enjoy the music. Am I right? Teaching is not like that. Third meaning. If you really want to follow the person, check the person. Not only person, check the teaching. Not teaching, check the meaning. That's why what Buddha said, should not trust the person, trust the teaching. Should not trust the teaching, trust the meaning. Within the meaning, there are two meanings, conventional, ultimate. Should not only trust the conventional truth, trust the ultimate truth. Right? That's why, we are opposite. We always, follow the person, not the teaching. Sometimes we follow the person at the teaching, we don't think about the meaning. So we have to be, totally opposite. First think about the meaning. If you know that the teaching, the person giving the right meaning, a right understanding, this means the teaching is good. Right? The teaching is good. If the teaching, the meaning is right, the teaching is good, this means the master, the person must be good. Okay, so we should not first follow the person, second teaching, third meaning. We opposite. First try to think about the meaning, try to think about the teaching, then person. Because in Buddhism there's so many important points how we follow the person, how we can accept the teaching. There's so many important. But most of us, we totally don't care those things. We care only the person. Am I right? That's so important. That's why here, Tsongkhapa explained very well how we just follow the master, what kind of quality the master have. Now here, why, somebody will raise question, maybe could raise question, why Lama Tsongkhapa, why, Adisha, why other master need to write Lamrim? Because Buddha teaching is already there. Why you need to write? Why you need to compose the text? Why? Then last one, look at. Therefore, having since that the lack of path pleasing to the wise, the supreme complete instruction, the key point of the teaching, I was inspired to explain this part of the great, this difficult understanding, Trailblazer. Okay. This is why Lama Tsongkhapa, inspired to, read the Lamrim. Right? So that means so today we just stop here. Next, it's a simple homework. Very simple. Everybody must do the homework. It's explained here, the teaching that I will explain in how fortunate beings are lead the Buddhahood by way of stage of the path of enlightenment. That there's talking about four uniques of the teaching. Four uniques. Number 1, number 2, number 3, 4. The Lamrim teaching. 4 uniqueness of the Lamrim teaching. Then the scholars of the glorious Nalendra, that means they explain there's a two different tradition how to follow the teaching. Okay, first 4 uniqueness of the Lamrim. And homework number 2, the 2 tradition. Then short, you just summarize the history of Adisha. Okay? Home number one, homework what? For uniqueness of Lamrim. Okay, homework number two? Two traditions. Each must well precisely. Then third one? Adisha. Why we need to know the history of the master? Master, in Tibetan we says, the previous history of the masters, doesn't matter, history of Milarepa, Lama Marba, and Teloba, Naroba, Buddha Shakyamuni. Just think about the 12 deeds of Buddha. Just think about the 12 deeds of Buddha. Within the 12 deeds, think about 6 years he did very hardship, right, to understand the reality. 6 years. 6 years he just remained under the tree. He didn't have a air condition when it feel hot. He didn't have a heating system when he cold. He just stayed under the Buddha tree, did study practice for 6 years. When you think about that, how do you feel? Oh, I must practice as Buddha Shakyamuni. When you hear about history of Milarepa, it inspires you to practice Dharma. That's why what we Tibetans said, the previous history of Buddhas or masters is it is the practice for practice to us. When you study about Adisha story, it inspires you how to study, how to put effort. So this is very short, very simple homework. Everybody, I hope everybody will finish. It's very simple homework. And also, the Nalanda tradition, I think everybody has a soft copy. If you not somehow Poland, can you try to send a soft copy of the psychology? So I will explain maybe just only 10 or 15 minutes every day. The Nalanda course. Then Lamrim. Then end of the class, question answer. Maybe beginning or end. I think beginning I will explain the Nalanda course about psychology. Then short time for testing your homework. Then for the actual class, fifth, the question answer. Okay, and thank you for attending Lamrim class, and I hope to see next time. When you had a lot of homework, don't run away.
That stick for you, the hit burning, never do homework.
I think I need to hit. I need to hit to you.
You use this, yeah.
She said use the stick. I told her if I need to use this one first, I need to use for you. Because last time, she has a confusion about cause and effect. I explained in the car almost 20 minutes. He says, oh, Geshe, I got it. Oh, I know that. Yesterday, and day before they has class, she has some confusion. Then today they were preparing the flowers. I asked, do you remember how to do the dedication? He said, oh, benefit all sentient beings. I said, do you remember how the Lamrim explained? She forgotten. The first for you, huh? So dedication. So dedication prayer. So I know everybody know how to dedicate. So we're doing, reciting the Lamrim dedication prayers. This is written by Lama Tsongkhapa. Mainly, wish to flourish the practice of Lamrim. So everybody, do the dedication.